MHU on three. 1, 2, 3.
MHU.
Hi everybody, Stuart Jolly along with Lion Head Football Coach Tim Clifton. And Coach, last Saturday, kind of I guess my favorite matchup of the season. I don't know about as coaches go, but I always like it when Carson-Newman and Marshall get together because two very veteran coaching squads, both Mike Turner and Tim Clifton, in my opinion, you both do an exceptional job of taking care of your young people and building them into, as we've talked about so many times, family guys. And the important thing that's as fun as it is out here in this field is those lifetime gains. But tough game against Carson-Newman. A few passes held on to here and there. It'd have been a different outcome, but we ended up the wrong end of the score against the Eagles. But you and I talked off camera, probably one of the toughest teams we played all year.
Yeah, I thought going in they were, I thought they were the best team we have faced all year. Because when you add in their kicking game, they just have a huge advantage in the kicking game there. I mean, you make right at a 50-yard field goal on the first kick, and then every time you kick it, it's in the back of the end zones, and then they're extremely good at punting too. They punch it deep and can cover. I thought defensively they were one of the best teams we've seen all year, and then offensively they're always hard to stop with the veer. I thought our defense played well. I thought we did some really good things. If we execute the way we've been executing, I think it's 21-20 and a half for us. But we, you can't turn it over 4 times against Newman and think you're going to win the football game because they don't need any extra opportunities.
No,
we gave them extra opportunities, and
at least a couple of those, if I remember correctly, we were in the red zone basically. We were really in good shape. And
the kid, when we threw the one pick in the red zone, we threw a little screen underneath that we've gotten people with for a long time, and we got LR with it. And one kid, he made a great play. Everybody else ran with the screen, and he stood right over and watched the tight end when Ty came underneath. He ran to it and made a great play. And but there, that we're probably looking at the worst 21-14 and a half, or 20-14 and a half, excuse me. And we had opportunities. I thought our defense kept giving us opportunities, and then we did some good things to put some points on the board. But we just we gave them too much. You can't chase them. You got to stay even with them and force them to make some decisions they don't like to make offensively, and that's trying to force them to throw it more than they want to throw it. And but if we executed a few plays here and there, I think it would have been in it at the end, and then you'd have seen what happened. But the one thing after looking at the film, and I knew when we came off the field, we played extremely hard. Our kids played hard.
And they're one of the most physical teams I think we've been up against, if not all season long.
Yeah, they're very physical. What they do on offense is physical, and then their defense is really physical defense. They're a veteran group, and all their guys, offensively, they just have a bunch of veterans. Their quarterbacks are, 4th-year starter for them, and
everything becomes second nature at that point.
And he's really good at what he does. And I wasn't disappointed in our effort. I was a little bit disappointed in some of our execution.
Well, it's one of those things, just looking at the statistical rundown in that game, we were very much, it reflected what you just talked about a play here and there, because Carson-Newman 26 first downs, Barnesville 24. They got the nod on 3rd down efficiency. You look at net yard passing, we've got 314. Rushing, they had 388, so kind of balances things out there. But from a that game's behind the standpoint moving into Tusculum and then Wingate, making the transition from playing a nationally ranked power like Carson-Newman and then still having some powers to wrap up the season. Tusculum, looking, they're a good team. I think their record is not indicative. If you look at their numbers, the record's not necessarily a truism of what's going on with the Pioneers. How does from a coaching standpoint, I guess player standpoint, this real tough game against Carson-Newman, how is it a mental transition then to stay on that level this late in the season?
Well, I think the thing that you have to do is you can't let Carson-Newman beat you twice. And they're pretty good at beating people twice. If you look at the teams that play them, then they play the next week. I think as we look at it, our guys have got a lot to play for. I think we're looking at securing a winning season. And then you look at Tusculum, who they played. I mean, they played Delta State and West Alabama. They played some people.
They really have.
And then they have played, Wingate, and they have played LR. So they played some guys.
And it was a one-touchdown game against Wingate. They played them 28-21 on their homecoming. Like I said, Delta State, that was close to 24-10. West Alabama, they've kind of had them all over on that one, 41-17. But most of the games, they've been 1 or 2 touchdowns away.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Newberry, they turned it over, but they won 3 in a row. So. And
they beat Pembroke, so you can do that. Yeah. You beat here, we beat them.
Yeah, so they won 3 in a row, and it's always a battle. You look at the last
we've seen some really strange games over there over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, if you see the last 10 years, it's always been a dogfight where we play.
And oftentimes, whoever has the ball last is going to be the one coming up the win.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it both ways. We beat them in overtime. They beat us at the end of the game. We beat them at the end of the game. I mean, it's always been a tough game and a good matchup for us.
We'll come back and talk more football right after this.
I just did not have a lot of stability.
I was facing foreclosure.
Not working at all, didn't have any money.
I could not go to school and work, so I found Mars Hill.
The experience here has been so wonderful.
It's been amazing.
I was able to have the full-time hours without the full-time load.
They are just incredibly supportive.
And Mars Hill is very affordable.
Mars Hill University Adult and Graduate Studies, education that moves mountains.
I will be the first in my family to graduate with my bachelor's degree.
Craig Rucker, wide receiver. You're watching Live Sports Network.
Welcome back, Stuart Jolly and Tim Clifton. Coach, Saturday was one of those things that we've seen lots of times with young people that you've recruited and played in this program in terms of records were broken. This time it was Craig Rucker, now leading the South Atlantic Conference in his, with all of his numbers in terms of, and I'll get the verbiage right, career touchdown receptions at 42. He had 3 TDs on Saturday that got him that record. He's also set a Mars Hill school record with most career receptions, 276. He had 15 receptions on the day, 199 yards. Let's talk about Rock. Amazing young man, quality guy, and he makes tough things look so easy out there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed, and and not only can he run, but he make people miss. And he has the knack of, if he catches it in space, he has a chance every time he catches it with any kind of space, And but he is I think he's the most dynamic, and I could be wrong, I hadn't seen, you don't see all the teams in Division II, but he's got to be the most dynamic offensive player in Division II football. I mean, he has to be.
Well, and go back to what we talked about early on. When you consider that those records were broken against Carson-Newman, that's even more impressive, and that certainly speaks to, one, his athletic ability, and the second thing, just talk about his overall, he has a feel for, this is what I need to do in this situation.
Yeah, I just think he knows, he just feels where people are, but he also knows that he has an innate ability of making people miss, and then he can explode once he makes a miss. And I think that's where he's different than so many guys. And he's been chasing Dimitri Holmes, who played here and was one of the best ever play in this league, and Tyree Zimmerman, he's been chasing him from Newberry, and so he's up there with some quality players and quality names. I think he's better in space than anybody I've seen in this league since I've been in this league. And if he catches it somewhere in space, I think he can do things that other guys can't do. But Dimitri Holmes, when he was here, he had phenomenal hands and was a really good route runner. And for him to be in that category is he's in one of the top categories. And I know he's going to break. He's with the reception touchdowns, and that's hard to do in the aspect that we don't throw it like some other teams that have thrown it in the past here, and guys have had receptions, but I think one of the things unique about his program, I think Clifton is the best linebacker ever played in this league. I think Jonas Randolph is obvious he's the best linebacker ever played in this league, and I'm not sure Craig Rucker is not the best receiver to ever play in this league. And you'd like to have had all three of them at the same time.
Oh, yes, we would.
Like that. But I think he's just a dynamic player, and I think his work habits this summer have paid off. He worked out all summer and was here all summer, and worked extremely hard in the summer, and I think that's paid off for him.
Well, the other part of kind of the puzzle that's come together for him and watching him over the last few years is oftentimes coaching staffs get these athletes, and you can watch it nationwide, and like, man, they really don't know how to use this guy. Your crew, from you on it, your group of coaches is very good at kind of mentally getting in there with the player about what is their comfort, what we need to do to make them in situations that if we can get them the ball, this is what we're going to dial up, get him the ball, they can take it from there.
Yeah, I think
and that doesn't just happen.
No, I think the thing you run into that we've run into the last 2 years is you don't know exactly how they going to play us. I mean, we really don't. I mean, you don't know how they're going to line up and how they're going to bracket Rucker or whatever. Now, Harbison and Ferg and those guys have sort of taken the pressure off, because you got to cover those guys too, and we've got a core receivers that they have to cover, and I think they help open it up. But you go in and you've got each week you have a little package where you say how we're going to get him the ball, because they don't have a package how to keep you from getting him the ball. So you got to figure out how you're going to get him the ball, and then you got to figure out how he can be a great decoy too. And that's the part where he's gotten better, is he's become a decoy in a lot of games.
Because the opposition's defense, they'll bite on him,
Yeah,
and you're like, we're going to go over here.
Yeah, wherever two goes, eyes go,
That's right.
bodies go. So, but he's doing doing some things where he's going full speed and people are having to react, and then you do other things, and that's what we've tried to get him to understand. And this year he has truly understood that if I do this, somebody else is going to get open, or that we'll have this in the run game, and I think that's where he is improved.
And I'm sure from my standpoint and other fan standpoint, it's a joy to watch, but it has to be a joy to coach too.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have somebody, if you get the ball in their hands, they can make it happen. It's good. It's great to watch, and it's but just like today, he had a really good practice. He just went out and worked, and that's where he has also come a long way. Is way he practices now. He understands that if you practice, you're going to play the same way, and I think that's where he has improved his game. Is that he comes to work now and practices every day, and his attitude is just relentless in practice. So it's been fun to really be around him out there and watch him go through practice and some of the things. Because he does some things in practice sometimes you just go, wow, how did that happen? I mean, and you just shake your head. But I think he's, as you go through this process, you got to look at it and say, man, he's made some just unbelievable plays.
He really has.
Since he's been here.
Fun to watch, like I said, fun to coach. It doesn't get any easier this weekend. Before we talk in depth about the Tusculum game, quick recap, how things are in the league. Lenore, no one's gotten them yet. They're still 7-0, Wingate 5-1, that one courtesy of Lenore. Carson-Newman, Marshall 4-2, 3-3, that's Newberry and Tusculum, 2-4, Limestone. Catawba 0-6, UVAY 0-7. So you look at the overall record. We're going over the mountain here on Saturday afternoon. It is Senior Day and Military Appreciation Day, Pioneer Field. Tusculum is always tough. They have us, and then their final game will be against Carson-Newman. So they're like us. We have Tusculum, then we have Wingate. It doesn't get any easier for anybody in this league. What should fans expect to see Saturday afternoon against the Pioneers? Because they've been some interesting matchups over the years.
Yeah, I mean, we played them in the Mud Bowl here.
Yes, sir.
One year where it was ankle deep in
That
the
was hard to stat for the SID crew.
Yeah, but it was. And,
Where is that?
and we even kicked off the second half instead of we didn't want the ball. It was somebody we
That's right.
kicked it to
Here,
them
you do something.
and got them the football.
That's right.
But I think it's always a very physical game with us and with Tusculum. I mean, it's very physical. It's always a tight ball game. It's always an entertaining game too. And I don't think this will be any different. I think they're really, really good on defense. I think they create problems for people on defense. If you look at their scores, not many people are putting points on the board.
Not at all.
And then offensively, they control the football. They're really good at running back, and they can run the outside zone, the inside zone, and they're very physical running the ball in between the tackles. And so, I think it's going to be a great matchup, and we're going to have to be relentless. And I think whoever holds on to the ball, I think that's going to be the key. Whoever doesn't turn it over, I think this game will go. Everybody says, well, turnovers, and they do. But with us and them being matched up the way it is, I think the turnovers will be a big key.
Now, with knowing Frankie DeBus was there, they would certainly air it out on a regular basis. More of a mix now, I think.
Yeah, and more of they really want to pound the football if they can. I think that's what they really want to do. They've been forced in some areas where they couldn't keep pounding it, just like we want to pound it, but we get forced in some areas sometimes where you can't pound the football. But They're just really good at running back. They're 3 deep at running back, and they're big. Their offensive line is huge, and their tight end is huge. I mean, they've just got some big folks up front, and they can mash you. You know, they try to mash you, and then they've got, like I said, they got a lot of guys on defense that can run, and they create so many mismatches on their blitzes, and they make you work on protecting your QB.
So Saturday afternoon, 1:30, senior day over at Tusculum. So get there early. They tend to pack that place out on a regular basis. It's also Military Appreciation Day, so that'll bring in veterans and other individuals there. So and that gives us opportunity to just kind of pause. I know your son was in this week. Got to see him, and we appreciate those that are serving now. Those like my dad that have already served, and because we couldn't do this and have fun doing this if they didn't do the tough job now or in the past.
No, and it's you know, you just got to take your hat off to the guys and the gals, and you know, men and women that serve, and our son's home for he's home for another maybe 7 days, and then he goes to Oklahoma, to still Oklahoma, and from there to Korea. So, but anybody that serves, you know, and gives you the opportunity to live the way we live and they give their time and their energy and so many of their lives to our cause. It's an unbelievable thing for anybody that serves, and you know, you take your hat off to those,
Absolutely.
to those veterans and to the people that are serving now.
It is indeed a privilege to benefit from what those gentlemen do and ladies do on a regular basis. We'll see you over the ridge Saturday afternoon at 1:30, and then back home next week. The Lions will wrap up the regular season at home here at Mears Stadium, taking on the nationally ranked Bulldogs of Wingate University. But we'll see you Saturday over at Pioneer Field. Tip-off, kickoff. Basketball's playing too. I am. Kickoff is at 1:30. Till then, so long for now.
MHU 1, 2, 3. MHU.